What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we're concluding Mobile Suit Gundam Awakening. Last time Makuve died, once again showing that there truly is no way to die in this universe. It's a choose-your-own adventure when it comes to that guy. Joaquin's ship also went down in the process, leaving Bright feeling overwhelmed. This time, Amuro faces off against Lalah in the Elmith. Char runs into Sailor Mass, and the Pegasus takes some heavy damage. So let's get into this. Char tells Lalah to get out of there. He spotted the Federation mobile suit and its pilot, but goes to help Lalah. Amuro watches the two and starts to realize what she meant by being too late. Amuro is more attracted to her when she is taken. That's probably not the healthiest erection to get, but we have no time to break down the psychology of what is happening. We have to fight with robots. A voice inside his head tells him to get out of there fast. His beam rifle is low on energy. He grabs the bazooka from the Zaku from last episode. Char and Lalah flee into the colony. Behind him is the Pegasus and gun cannons. Rather than go and support his team, he lets his erection do the talking and heads into Texas Colony. Like in the anime, Texas Colony has high winds, low oxygen, and a lack of greenhouse gases. So explosions don't completely go off, because it's slightly exposed to space, but still has oxygen. The novel confirms that, like Origin, this was designed to be a Westworld-like colony, or, to quote the book, a simulation of the Wild West. Amuro scans the colony looking for the two. Little did he know that Lalah and Char were making their way to the port side of the colony, getting ready to flee in the Zanzibar. While Lalah heads back to the ship, Char faces off with the Gundam. He wasn't anticipating the Federation to have new types at this stage already. They dumped too many Minovsky particles as Char is getting nothing but static on the radar. The Cisco and the Saffron stayed outside, while the Pegasus head in to dock with Texas Colony. Bright calls Hayato back and switches with Kai. He was able to escape punishment for launching without permission because he shot down a few ships. He turns to Mirai, but she says to prep for a missile barrage. She is already able to sense Bright's orders before he gives them out. On a colony, each end of the tube has its own dock. There is a core in the colony for service maintenance purposes that connects the two docks, allowing Bright to fire missiles through the colony and to the other end, Star Wars style. The missile barrage smokes out the Zanzibar on the other side and enters into the colony. Sailor's shift ends and she uses this opportunity to go find her brother. She makes it out of the hangar and finds a dune buggy. There is enough air to breathe in the colony, but she still wears a normal suit to keep the sand out of her eyes. Also, that air isn't going to exist pretty soon. Lalah and Dr. Flanagan are in a convoy with the Elmith, almost to the Zanzibar, when Bright's missile barrage goes off around them. Lalah pleads to Flanagan to let her take off in the Elmith before the Zanzibar is destroyed. Flanagan is annoyed by all the sand in his butt crack, but she ignores him and doesn't even wait for his answer. Even though he ignored her, he yells at her to wear a normal suit. Lalah relates the look of the Elmith to a yellow-crested cockatoo. I mean, yeah, I kinda see it. The Zanzibar launches its mobile suit. Amuro watches the convoy, but Char sneaks up behind him. He tackled Amuro so hard airbags go off and his spine would have snapped without him. I sit in my chair wrong and I'm hunched over for weeks? How are most mobile suit pilots still standing straight? Char is starting to feel the limitations of the Zaku while fighting the Gundam. He curses the fact that he doesn't have a beam rifle. Both mobile suits are adjusting to fighting in near Earth-like gravity. Remember, we aren't going to Earth in this novel, so this is the closest we are getting to an Earth battle. Public attack ships go out to support the Pegasus on the other side of the colony. Kai is taking out Zaku's trying to protect the ship. The Zanzibar skipper is a veteran and waited an allotted time for the next volley of missiles. This is a situation where brash youth wins, as Bright fires until they have nothing left, gravely damaging the Zanzibar. If both did an all-out fire at the same time, the Zanzibar would have most likely won. There is a lesson about experience in battle and how it only goes so far. We don't have time for lessons, we gotta get back to battling. At this point, the colony is in ruins as ships fire back and forth. Out of the flames comes Lalah and the Elmith. The remaining public-class ships head towards Lalah. Her instincts kick in, and so too does the Psychomu system. Dr. Flanagan eventually found a way to convert psycho waves into human-readable language. He called this the Psycho Communicator, or as we know it, the Psychomu. The doctor originally found it hard to categorize the different human brainwaves, but what was much harder was to test for new type abilities. New types come in all shapes and sizes, and can be super geniuses or psychic ghosts. Intuition, artistic ability, leadership qualities, these are all variables that define a new type. Even those who exhibit a strong sense of self-worth show new type potential. Lalah soon wasn't herself high in IQ, but she exhibits one of the best connections with a Psychomu system. Flanagan realized that new types in this current time are ineffable. There is not a word or metric that can define them. None of that mattered to Kaisilia Zabi. All she was concerned about was that new types can be used in war. Flanagan was silenced by the Zabis. But even with the gag order, new type theory seemed to have flourished amongst the people. As Amuro and Char fight with close combat weapons, the Red Comet curses himself for not being a new type. He thinks he isn't one simply because he is losing. The Gundam's drive shaft is at its limits. He is able to kick the Heat Hawk out of Char's hand. The beam saber slices into the neck of the Zaku. Char's arm no longer functions. He curses himself. That is when he hears Lalah yell, "Commander." She unleashes her bits on the Gundam. Amuro drops Char and begins evasion. This is the first time someone survived an attack from the Elmeth bits. Outside, the Cisco and Saffron are damaging the outer wall of the colony. The Pegasus and Zanzibar are now in close proximity of one another. The Zanzibar's reinforced armor is better than the Pegasus, but it does have weak spots. Mirai takes the ship low to the colony floor. She then swings by the Zanzibar where the Pegasus unloads rockets onto the Zeon ship, leaving it more of a husk than it once was. However, it still was functional enough to fire its cannons on the Pegasus before crashing into the colony, causing a giant colony quake. Sayla goes racing across the colony in search for Char. She locates the Red Zaku. Char made an emergency landing. She notices him reaching for an oxygen mask. Now with major holes throughout the colony, the oxygen has drastically reduced. She runs over and yells for Cassavant. He realizes that it is his sister and wonders what she is doing here of all places. She wants him to quit the military and to return to the Federation with her. He says, "Are you kidding me? I'm Char motherfucking Aznable." She urges him to at least leave the military. Char says, "Hey man, have some perspective. We might not even make it off this colony. And even if we do, still, no." He does a reverse Uno and says she should quit the Federation and never show herself in front of him again. He then steals her dune buggy, limiting her chances to survive. "I love you, sister, and I hope you survive, but also I'm taking your chances to survive. Bye." So mysterious, this Char fellow. In Sayla's helmet, she hears the Pegasus order the crew to abandon ship. Lalah and Amuro have been fighting with each other this whole time. One bit takes out the Gundam's leg. Amuro is taking many G's to the face just to dodge the bits. Amuro briefly wonders how the Psychomu system works, as there must be Minovsky particles all over the area. He takes out one bit. The Elmeth fires its megaparticle cannon. While fighting, Lalah could sense Amuro's grief. She didn't feel any anger coming from him, even in the heat of the moment. As they fight, the two create a new type psychic link. They could see each other clearly, as though they are right in front of one another. Sayla was able to exit the colony through one of the giant holes and make it to the Saffron. Bright, Mirai, and Hayato, along with some of the surviving Pegasus members, flee towards the Texas colony port. Char makes it back to what little remains of his fleet. A giant green light emerges. Everyone on the battlefield can sense it. It even extends towards Solomon, where General Revel is currently on his way towards Granada for a direct attack. For a moment, both Lalah and Amuro could see beyond infinity. The Elmeth and the Gundam clash. Amuro's beam saber connects, destroying the cockpit and vaporizing Lalah. The mobile armor's reactor goes off, tearing another hole in the colony, causing the Gundam to fling out into space. He ejects into the core fighter. Amuro killed the one person he needed the most. The world still isn't ready for new types to awaken. UC 0080. The war is still not over. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam Awakening, the first volume of Tomino's original vision of Gundam. This war isn't a one-year war, unlike what we are used to in the anime. Also, just a heads up, Awakening and Escalation are available on Google Books. Confrontation you will have to find on your own. In the next volume, Mobile Suit Gundam Escalation. The crew escapes Texas Colony and they link up with General Revel's fleet, prepping for their occupation of Granada. And Amuro wakes up in the hands of someone named Cusco Al, who you might be familiar with if you played Garen's Greed. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, seeing beyond infinity as a young person will lead to depression in older life. The tragedy of peaking too young. Peace.